Women are conditioned to stay in bad relationships, and this is majorly based on religion and societal pressures. Making a decision to be with someone or marry someone is not a sentence for the rest of your life for mistreatment. Religion and history has confounded many, especially women, to devastating situations just because they made a commitment. For relationships that become abusive or trust is broken, it is grounds for termination, even biblically, because the Most High has not called us to be in a place where we do not have peace. There is no peace if there is any type of abuse or if the trust has been broken. It's impossible to have peace within yourself if you are with someone in close proximity and even have to be intimate with someone where the trust has been broken. Some people say, well, you chose them, or marriage is for life. And I believe that statement is a scapegoat. That statement says that no matter what, you must stay in that relationship or in that marriage just because you signed a contract of some sort, even if it may cost you your life. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, if you separate, you should seek reconciliation but not remarry. Marriage to some people is the only contract where people cannot leave no matter the circumstances. It's a very damaging and devastating stance to make with someone that may truly need to leave a relationship. And I'm not just talking about for frivolous reasons. I'm talking about life-altering, life-changing reasons. And the people who always try to condemn women to stay in these terrible relationships, they don't even think about the reverberating effects that staying in that relationship will even have on her children, for her children seeing her actually go through that and seeing someone treat her that way, making them think it's okay to treat someone that way or to be treated that way. I'm talking about not staying in these relationships because of serious life-changing or life-altering or life-ending reasons. There have been many women that have told me that they had to or needed to stay. So this is just a little wake-up call, If you're one that believes you should stay, or if you're a person that encourages other people to stay in these situations where you don't know the ins and outs and it may actually not be a good situation, you might want to think twice about the damage not only to that person who's actually in the marriage, but the secondary effects that it could have on the people around her as well. You have to think about, again, the future and all the other little things you don't think about that it will affect. I know that here in the West, we have many different liberties that are not afforded to a lot of women across the world, even up until this day. And I don't know what to say about that because I can't definitely speak on other cultures. But, faith leaders here, I think, should really take it very slow when they are counseling or encouraging women to stay in situations where the woman is communicating that things are not good. And just because things have not raised to a physical level yet, emotional, financial, spiritual, psychological abuse and issues is just as damaging, if not more, than the physical. So that's just a little calling and urging for any people giving advice or any people that are taking the advice to do what it is, not necessarily that feels right to you, but because sometimes, our minds can take us places where it's not true, it's just what we perceive. But I'm talking about in truly concrete definitive situations where it's not good and it's not wise for a woman to stay in. She should not stay in just for the sake of saying she remained in that marriage. Another thing I want to talk about is the longevity of marriages. You know, a lot of people base the productivity and the success of a marriage based on how long it lasted. But in addition to what I was talking about earlier, how long something lasted does not mean it was successful. There are lots of things that go on and on and on that should have stopped a long time ago. There are stores that are still technically open and functioning, but they're not prosperous and they're not productive. They might even be an eyesore now to the community. But with that being said, you know, there are a lot of our foremothers, grandmothers, mothers, parents that have stayed in terrible relationships, and the children knew it, you know, and the children were thinking themselves, why are y'all still doing this? But they continue to stay in that relationship just because of societal norms that I mentioned when I first opened, and different pressures and relationship, you know, pressures that are put on people and that were put on people in the past for them to be conditioned to think that way, conditioned to think that staying in a relationship or a marriage where there is no peace or safety, either emotionally or physically, that you should just stay because you're supposed to stay. And I'm a firm believer that our Creator, the Most High, did not create us, even if we did make a decision to be with someone, for us to be in a place where we're not productive, where we're not at peace, and we don't have a sense of safety. All right. And again, this is not a call saying that all people or men or anything like that are abusive. I'm just talking about in general, people staying in relationships that are not good and that are not beneficial to their well-being or them being a good child to the Most High and being able to fulfill their purpose because they're so bogged down with what is going on in a relationship that they probably shouldn't be in the first place. Let me know what you think. Are women conditioned, or have women in the past been conditioned to stay in bad relationships just for the sake of staying in a relationship and being able to say that they have stayed in marriages? Another thing I'm going to add right quick is I have firsthand knowledge of women that have chosen to stay. These people have been married 30, 40 years, and the husband has had outside children. That's a different level of woman. I can't say what I would or wouldn't do. However, I think that that woman has a right to make the best choice and decision for herself. I don't think that anybody has the right to tell her, oh, you made a choice and decision and you chose this man, so you need to stay or you must stay because that's the commitment you made. Once trust is broken, it's something that is almost impossible to get back to a certain level. All right, that's all. And you all let me know what you think. Have you been in these types of situations? Have you given advice or had to take advice that sounds something like this, where you were told or told other people that they should stay because they made a commitment? Be blessed.